After a morning of pretty significant rushing around, you finally made it to your gate. You plop yourself down in the aisle seat you selected for the flight, bag beneath the seat in front of you, seatbelt fastened. After popping in your earbuds and refreshing your Instagram feed, you start to take a look at the people trying to board the plane. Here's a list of the 15 individuals you want to pray to God continue to walk straight past your row. People fart. We get it. But farting isn't the problem. The problem is lack of consideration for other people, as evidenced by really poor meal planning. If you have an irritable bowel, keep it nice and bland the night and day before you fly. If you're lactose intolerant, you probably shouldn't have an ice cream sandwich for dinner. Don't attack the people around you just because after 30-some-odd years of life, you don't really still know your own body. One can't help but try to identify the perpetrator as well. You glance around the cabin and try to determine based on air circulation and cabin humidity who it was. And then you pick the grossest motherfucker you can find and you pin it on them. And even though you can never really know with certainty, you spend the rest of the flight grilling the back of their head. We all get sick from time to time, and with the ridiculous costs of flight today, chances are you aren't going to cancel or change your flight no matter how shitty you feel. But there's likely no other environment imaginable that can be worse off to bring an illness, especially a contagious one. With a couple hundred strangers close enough to you that you can tell what kind of tic-tac they're sucking on, only a few coughs can go a very long way. Sure, they might be hacking up an innocent hairball, but they also might be exposing an entire section of the plane to tuberculosis. You smile at them as if to outwardly express, I hope you feel better, but your inner monologue is thinking, cover your mouth, bitch, I am all out of sick time. I'm sure it sucks to be fat, but it also sucks when you're not fat, and a fat person's fat is all up in your shiz. I read recently that certain airlines are requiring morbidly obese people to purchase 2 tickets, and I really don't think that's such a bad idea. But should the airline really have to make that decision for you? What's more embarrassing, having to pay for 2 tickets or not being able to fit into the one you bought? Shamu also likely brought 2 dozen snacks along, and you might be covered in crumbs by the end of the flight whether you ate or not. Ah, the Battle of the Armrest, a battle of epic proportions. No words are ever spoken in this battle, just a series of minor, well-calculated, subtle, but not too subtle movements of the arm to gradually reclaim the space that one feels is rightfully theirs. If you're lucky, they'll lean forward and grab a stick of gum out of their carry-on, and you can emerge from your fake slumber, if only for an instant, and conquer the entire thing with one smooth move. Like Shamu and the armrest hog, Daddy Longlegs is another common personal space invader. I realize it's not your fault you're as tall as a redwood tree, but it's certainly not my fault I'm little either. If I wanted to share my seat with you, I would have accepted a cash donation for part of my ticket. This gentleman spent his morning rushing around just as much as you did, so much so that he ran out of time to fill his Flomax prescription before the flight. The trouble with this guy is that aside from being a middle-aged male or older, he is nearly impossible to identify on first glance. You'll know it's him only after he springs out of his seat like a gazelle the moment the fasten seatbelt sign turns off for the very first time, and every 30 minutes thereafter. You have to feel bad for him a little, though. His prostate is the size of a fucking grapefruit, and he doesn't want to be getting up to go to the bathroom a million times any more than you want to be getting up to let him out. Forgive me if you totally disagree with me on this one, but you can make your own list, no one's stopping you. I'm talking about the not at all Americanized Indian people, Dot, not Feather, that shower twice annually and never seem to remember to bring deodorant when they travel. And BO is the absolute worst smell ever. These people can stink so bad I swear I can taste it. I'd even go as far as to say that I'd rather take the middle seat next to Captain Cabbage Farts, to be honest with you. Your physical appearance is no longer what alarms us. You are a terrorist of the nostrils. Hoy! Non-Americanized Asians, you can see them coming from a mile away, that usually hunt in large groups and are adorned with a fanny pack, visor, socks with open-toed sandals, and are holding a disposable camera. They elbow 6 different people in the face just trying to get their bag into the overhead bin and don't even acknowledge it because they have absolutely no concern for the people around them. They speak at an abnormally elevated volume for the entire flight in a language that sounds aggressive, but none of which you can understand. And they will take upwards of 75 peace sign selfies out the window, even if they have to sprawl across you in order to do so. Mama and baby bear! Babies can't help but cry. It's basically all they do besides shit and eat. But listening to a baby wail in your ear for hours on end is hardly a good time. Hey lady, I'm not a pediatrician, but it sounds like your kid's passing a kidney stone, and you should probably get that checked out. You likely pinpointed this little shit before you even boarded. You watched him running around outside the gate, yelling and knocking over suitcases, and you thought, you've got some drugs to give that kid, right? Of course not. As he continues to act out and kick the back of your seat more times than you've strategized ways to murder him, you also key into the parents, who are likely doing nothing about it. No, Billy, that nice lady in front of you can feel it when you kick her seat. Really? That's all you've got? If you're ever faced with some kind of rape scenario, heaven forbid, I sure hope you learn how to say no a little fucking firmer than that lady. Jeez. Listen, nerd, this is a red eye. Are you going to keep that light on the whole time? Now, I mostly travel for fun, but I'm aware that some people actually have some adult work to do. But if you're going to cock block my nap to read Harry Potter and the Chamber of Queefs for the third time, I'm going to have to kill you. The ugly napper. I'm totally guilty on this one, and the worst part about me is that I'm an excellent plane sleeper and I pass out almost immediately. I don't snore, thankfully, but I have been known to cock my head in an exorcist-like fashion and sleep with my mouth open wide enough that the kid 5 rows back could probably start to shoot some free throws in there if he wanted. I recently invested in a neck pillow so my head no longer bobs down and thrashes back up every 3 minutes, and also so my neighbors no longer have to think of a polite, non-awkward way to let me know I fell asleep and drooled all over their shoulder again. I usually don't stay awake long enough to get liquored up on a plane. But I totally get it. It makes the time go by a little quicker, it calms the nerves. But after you've watched this guy consume his 7th vodka soda, you start to worry he's going to have to toss his cookies in a hot minute. Which may not be a bad idea, because at least it'd help him sober up. The AA relapser has a tendency to turn into a chatty Cathy, soon to be discussed, and a bad one at that, considering drunk people typically have a very poor concept of time. A 2-minute story will turn into a 2-hour story, or it may never, ever end. Maybe this is her first flight. Maybe it isn't. Maybe she just got through watching Flight starring Denzel Washington earlier in the week, and she's sure as shit this plane's about to go down just like that. Her trembling hands are wrapped so tightly around a set of rosary beads, even the jaws of life couldn't pry them out. And although you've flown 100 times before and never really minded it, she's inadvertently starting to pass a little bit of her paranoia onto you. Please, for the love of God, shut the fucking fuck up. Chatty Cathy is probably the worst airline offender there is. Is there a way to politely ask these people to stop? Do they even know they're doing it? I just rolled my eyes in your face and put my headphones in. It's called body language, not rocket science. I'm sorry that you can't sleep on planes or that your husband isn't giving you enough attention at home. But I really don't give a rat's asshole that your cousin's sister's parrot's grandma's nephew owns his own cat clothing line. I don't even like cats, or humans, or talking, so please leave me alone.